We're continuing to follow breaking news for you out of New York. Well, we're now hearing reports that one person has died following a helicopter crash. It happened on the top of a high-rise, creating a bit of chaos in the middle of Times Square. This is a look at midtown Manhattan where the incident took place. Now, there was also a fire and plenty of smoke as a result. Of course, this is a very fluid situation, and a lot of information is just now coming into our newsroom. Well, we just heard from Governor Cuomo there. He spoke with reporters moments ago saying that he believes the fire is contained. So a bit of good news there. But of course, we're still a while away from knowing exactly what caused the chopper to crash. It is clear, if you can see there, that the weather in New York is not ideal for flying, and you can see emergency officials still a heavy presence there. We are continuing to follow a breaking news situation out of New York. A helicopter makes a hard landing on top of a high rise in the middle of midtown Manhattan. And we are now just getting this video into our newsroom. You can see that helicopter is believed to be the helicopter just moments before that crash. And you can see here that flight conditions not ideal, right? Plenty of fog, a lot of rain in New York this afternoon. No word yet, of course, whether weather was related in the crash that inevitably happened. But what we can tell you is that things are just not ideal when it comes to flying. And this is a video of that crash just moments after it happened. You can see heavy smoke billowing out of the building. This building is right around Times Square, 7th Street, and about 51st. And so if you are familiar with New York, then you know that this is basically in the middle of Times Square, so certainly a busy area there. People still being evacuated, and there's pretty much no foot traffic or any sort of car traffic allowed to go within the area. What you are looking at now live is media crew set up. Now, we are expecting to hear from New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio any moment now to hear what he is learning about this situation. We heard from Governor Cuomo earlier this afternoon. You know, anytime there's any sort of incident involving an aircraft, especially in New York, when it comes to crashing, a little bit of PTSD, as the governor put it earlier when it comes to 9/11. No indication of any terrorism, but we do want to give you an idea of what the governor was saying earlier this afternoon. Let's take a listen in.
If you're a New Yorker, you have a level of PTSD, right, from 9/11. And I remember that morning all too well. So as soon as you hear an aircraft hit a building, I think my mind goes where every New Yorker's mind goes.
Again, no indication that this crash had anything to do with terrorism. We are hearing from the president, President Trump tweeting, saying, "I have been briefed on the helicopter crash in New York City. Phenomenal job by our great first responders who are currently on the scene. Thank you for all you do 24/7, 365. The Trump administration stands ready should you need anything at all." Well, if you are just joining us, we are continuing to follow a helicopter that crashed in the middle of Times Square. We're hearing reports that one person is dead. Early reports are saying that it is the pilot. I do believe that is too early to confirm, but that's just the initial reports that are coming into our newsroom. That is the building. That building is the building that actually shook upon impact. We heard from witnesses earlier this afternoon as well describe hearing the alarms go off, like some sort of fire alarm, because there was in fact a fire on top of that building. Fire crews luckily were able to get that contained pretty early on, so it doesn't look like anybody inside that building, which houses a few financial businesses. We're talking hedge funds and other financial related industries inside that building. No injuries reported there, but we did hear one account from a witness who said they were pretty concerned when they were going down the stairwell when they actually did hear that an aircraft was involved. And so a little bit shooken up there. Luckily, it does look like fire crews do have the scene pretty much blocked off. Let's hear from one of those witnesses about what they experienced there this afternoon.
I would say about 5 to 10 minutes is when we eventually started to get up and out of there and evacuate from the 14th floor. But it took a good amount of time to actually get out of the building because there was congestion in the stairwell.
Yeah, as you can hear there, congestion in the stairwell. Not only congestion, but a bit of confusion. Not exactly knowing exactly what was happening. And then he actually, a little bit later on in that interview, went on to say that some people in the stairwell began to pull up their social media accounts and trying to Google different local news stations in the area to see if they knew what was happening. And then a bit of panic once they realized that an aircraft was, in fact, involved in the situation there. All right, if you are just joining us, it is 2:50 local time, 3:50 over New York City, where this is all unfolding. A live look where police are still on the scene. This is the scene. We're waiting to hear from Mayor Bill de Blasio. He's expected to give us an update on what he knows at any moment now. It does look like there's some movement from what I would believe to be some of the mayor's aides there. And so, of course, we'll try to give you his sound and hear from the mayor as soon as he takes the podium. But this is what we do know. We do know that one person is dead, and the whole area there in Times Square definitely a bit shaken up after a helicopter makes a hard landing. All right, here is Mayor Bill de Blasio about to address the media on the helicopter that crashed today in the middle of Times Square, causing some evacuations. Let's see if we can take a live listen in. This is Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York.
We had very strange, very troubling incident afternoon here in Manhattan.